Are you saying the money that I received was Goldenberg money?
Obviously, it was Goldenberg money.
You are not printing money.
Now, if
the
only people who can print money is the government.
Video. Because now, Moi was the government. And that money was coming from a Kanu office. It was not from a bank.
The media paints Jirongo as Jirongo is just Moi's crony.
Yeah.
And those are people who believed in easy things. Yeah. Jirongo has no mind of his own. Yeah. Jirongo was just lucky to be with Moi, to be given money. Then you wonder, this Sifuna has survived all through. You wonder, this Jirongo finished with Moi in 92 and in 93. He was being fought from morning up to evening. What is this that Jirongo was correcting in the Moi regime, that really those people who are around Moi came for his neck? These are issues.
But you also don't talk about it. You see, at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to set the record straight. I mean, Cyrus, because the perception that people have about you, it did not just come out of nothing. I told you, you are one of the most famous people in the 90s. I mean, and you are associated with the money. You have never told us where you used to get that money. You should tell us.
I know I got it from Azina Estate. I got it from Saika Estate.
But you can't,
I got it from Kemri Estate.
Let me ask you, you can't build
tangible things you can see.
You can't build Azina Estate and come and distribute money in the villages. What for? For the election of Moi? No. This money that Moi used to give you guys, I'll go and do happy. Me, I've told you, I also got 500 shillings.
Now, these are issues.
At the Kanu office. So if you address
let me explain to you. These are issues.
Address them.
These are issues which most people will never understand.
Yeah.
That there are times I'll go to the media to deny a statement. And when you follow that statement, it was difficult for you to discover where the statement came from. But finally, we discovered that there are statements that will be done by the then in State House by those people, NSIS, and is faxed from State House. They'll even say, Jirongo said this against the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and you have no idea. Really, basically,
there is that manipulation.
There is that. But when you ask about money and where the money that was being distributed came from,
this
is a very obvious thing. And I don't know why Kenyans...
What do you mean by obvious?
It is so obvious. Somebody comes up with a scheme. He says, I'll buy gold and you export, and then central bank gives him 30%. What really brought the ruin of the Kenyan economy at that time? Obviously, 58 billion shillings being paid out for nothing to somebody exporting paper is a lot of money to get out of a system.
I know.
Given the value.
I know, but
of what 58...
Are you saying the money that I received was Goldenberg money?
Obviously, it was Goldenberg money.
You are not printing money.
Now, if the only people who can print money is the government.
Video. Because now, Moi was the government. And that money was coming from a Kanu office. It was not from a bank.
Remember this, Even a bank existed called Exchange Bank. Purposely put up, right? To under pretense that we are looking for dollars. And the money is being given by central bank to these people, and adding them 33%, import compensation, all that. That is the money that was being distributed. And that is part of the war I had.
So why did they attach your name, personally, your name to the 500 shilling note?
Thank God I'm alive. I can still talk.
Yes.
I even was under attack, if you remember, the time they opened the fire on me in Westlands.
Yes.
They really tried hard to look for a scapegoat. That scapegoat was meant to be YK92, a team that Jirongo led. They tried and tried and tried, including elimination, so that they can find where to put the blame. All through, we have gone through cases of Goldenberg. I don't appear. But you'll find names there that were handling all that money. Even if we have what power, assuming the money was being printed and given to Jirongo, Jirongo would not have distributed that money. Actually, if you ask me what was spent, I have no idea. You will find the people driving cars. And you're supposed to be working with those people. When you ask him, where did you find this car? I was given by Joshua Kulei. But as far as they are concerned...
So you're saying it is...
As far as everybody's concerned, Jirongo knows where that money came from. Jirongo knows how these boys did this. This was an amorphous thing. And if you understand how the government operates, YK was operated by the intelligence of the country. YK was operated by State House. YK...
So you are just figureheads.
You are there thinking you are leading people, but you have people. If you remember, there was even a coup in YK 92, led by Sam Nyamweya and a few other people, to kick me out because I'm not towing the line. So there is a wrong perception about individuals without interrogation. When this matter is interrogated in detail, and when I put pen to paper and tell Kenyans...
You are writing a book?
I wrote it a long time ago, but I can't even release it.
Why?
Because I'll end up in... some people might just murder me.
But the book is already there. You know,
it is there
written, cannot kill a voice.
We cannot give it out at the moment, but it will come out at the right time. Kenyans need to understand.
Are you still afraid of that there are still elements within the power circles right now that have grudges from 92? Because those stories that you're telling,
that still pull strings in this country.
Okay.
And let me tell you, Sifuna, most Kenyans don't know what their government is. They have no idea.
Yeah.
And at one time, I wondered to myself, the capacity of those elected, the competences of those elected. Do Kenyans really know what they're electing?
No.
We end up with absolute idiots in positions that you wonder, how did this person get into this position?
Yes.
There are times you would discuss with the people in leadership, and you say, this must not be done like this, like that. And if his mind opens up a bit and he understands what you are saying is a good thing, he'll tell you, don't talk about it. Keep quiet. So that he comes up as somebody who has come up with some imagination and thought and is talked about it. The problem we have as a country, anybody can rule us. That's the biggest problem we have as a country.
Yeah.
We have not interrogated the competence of Sifuna to know that if I handed over this country to Sifuna, it will move forward. Yeah. If I handed over this country to Sifuna, Sifuna will be after competence and not tribe. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And not family. Yeah. That remains the biggest problem in our republic.
Yeah, and but let me just tell you, as even as a member of parliament, this thing called government is very complex.
It is.
And I tell people that even just joining that institution of parliament, there are things that you get to learn, to see, to observe.
You get shocked.
And you are very tempted to conclude that this country cannot be helped. Because it's like there is...
I'm happy that you have the same script.
Same page. There is infrastructure that ensures that anything that is going to benefit the people does not happen. Things that are so obvious to everyone that this is what makes sense, you find people doing the exact opposite. And then you ask yourself, why does this state of affairs exist? Who is supposed to benefit from this state of affairs? Because it is not the people who benefit from this state of affairs. So I understand what you're saying. By the way, it is not just Kenyans generally. You can imagine even for me, as an elected member of parliament, there are things that I believe I still do not know. Yeah. There are things that I know for a fact I don't understand why they are the way they are. But it is a system. It is the way things are. And you get if you just relax a bit, it's very easy for you to be co-opted into whatever system is, such that you just come to this conclusion that it is not your effort, that things were supposed to be like that, and that even if you fight and you feel like you are on your own.
The same things exist in the executive. I'll give you an example I lived. There were these rumors that toxic waste is being dumped in Northeastern. People knew I had the courage to face the leadership that was, including the President Moi. They then used the intelligence. A friend of mine is given a document proving where the toxic waste is being dumped in Kenya. I did not think twice. The first thing I did was to get a phone call and call Mzee Moi. I want a meeting. And I took off and went to that meeting with Sam Nyamweya and the late Choge to go and explain to President Moi that I have this document proving that toxic waste is being dumped somewhere in Northeastern, pretending that we are looking for oil. When I passed over the document from President Moi, I expected him to be very excited and tell me, listen, Cyrus, I want to find out what this is. You mean my people can do such a dirty thing against Kenyans? And the reaction I got was totally different. I was asked a question. Where did you find these documents? Then I said, Your Excellency, it is you who told us that we must never reveal the source of our information. So you have the powers and you have the system. I have given you a document. Investigate and find out, is it true or not true? No, you will not leave this state house unless you tell me where you found this document. And the argument went on. It was so heated that the security of the president started knocking the door, thinking that Jirongo is a madman, maybe he's fighting the president. They were opening to check what is happening because the president hit the roof. And I did not know the crime I've committed. I have come to you to tell you this thing will hurt Kenyans if it is actually happening. And today, look at this country. Assess the way cancer is finishing Kenyans. The highest rate of cancer victims starts from Embu, Nyeri, Meru, coming to Central. As you move towards Western Province, the rate of cancer is lower. Later on, when I left State House, when we were leaving,
How did you leave? Did you tell him?
No, after arguing, after so many things, when I realized I have messed up myself, is when we were leaving. And I want to tell you, nikisikia hii maneno mahali yengine, utanyoroka. Then I realized, did I go to a thief to tell a thief you're a thief?
You went to the thief.
I had never realized what I was doing. I thought I'm talking for the good of the country, yet I'm reporting
to the person doing the deed.
To people, I can't claim he was the one doing, but obviously he was aware of what was happening. Because he even offered a solution. He said, sisi tunajua, mahali mambo kama hii inafanyika ni Somalia. You know, that raised... Then when we were crossing the gate of State House, it was about 4. I had an announcement. Gaylord Avedi, who was then, who had just been appointed a permanent secretary, Minister of Energy. And the government has just started, it's so new. He has been transferred to office of the president as a PS, and the Mutitu, who used to be the PS there, has been returned. Then obviously I knew I have touched something that is going to bury me. The following day, I was arrested and went to the CID headquarters. And they only wanted one thing.
The source.
What did you disagree with the president over? And remember, when I was leaving, I was told, nikisikia hii kitu mahali yengine, utaona. So I realized I'm playing with a grave here. I got to be careful. So no Arapto. Every morning, I reported at 6 o'clock. I was asked one question only. Where did you get this information? And what is this that you disagreed with the president over? And my answer was very simple. Ask the president. He told me not to discuss it with anybody else. And I said that for 2 months, reporting at CID headquarters, because I realized if I opened my mouth to explain that I went to the president with these details and that, then the president will get the same information from Noah. And it will be clear that I'm discussing what we disagreed upon with other people. And I've been warned, nitajua. Then I'll be dead meat. I never mentioned it. So, in conclusion, we have a variety of dynamics that will change this country. First of all, is to paint a clear vision of where we want to go, as far as I'm concerned. Secondly, to realize the vices that have held us back. Tribalism instead of competence. Then also, ask Kenyans, they have a role to play.
Yeah.
The quality of leadership they elect.
Yeah.
And thirdly, leadership, when we talk about the quality of leadership that we elect,
Yes.
are we Africans? Are we pushing an African agenda? Or are we slaves of other nations?
Yeah.
In my view, if we paint a correct picture and get the right leadership and not tribe, and that leadership understands. Kibaki failed when he then now became a Kikuyu. Initially, he was not a Kikuyu.
Yeah.
When he was working with Mike, he was not a Kikuyu. But when now the really Kikuyu came into play as the main advisors, then Kibaki started going down. And that's why you sang Kibaki very loudly when he was not a Kikuyu. By the time he became a Kikuyu, mukakosana.
Yeah.
Those will be my sincere views.
That is the correct position. Now, for me, first of all, let me just say I don't envy you in this attempt to, there is a mental block that I don't know who put it there. But then immediately your name is said. There is a perception that I don't think, even if you took 10 years to explain yourself, I think the way people view and perceive you is not going to change. And the problem with that situation is that there's actually some things that we can learn from your experiences then, and some pointers of, proper warnings about the sort of people who should be able to go into power, should be allowed around power. But because it is Jirongo saying it, you will, of course, be immediately dismissed and said, huyo ni Kanu Hawk, anajaribu hapa kuja kujitetea. So I don't envy you from that particular perspective.
Yes.
But genuinely, you have a responsibility to always speak out and explain to Kenyans that these luxuries that we enjoy right now, it's very easy for them to be taken away.
Yeah, they can be
you
taken
can
away.
imagine, and I'm sure you will have a conversation with my friend Okiya Omtata at some point. We are back to the era where a president can directly threaten you as an individual because you have exercised a right that is constitutional. Okiya Omtata took a matter to court after we have exhausted all other avenues. When the finance bill was in parliament, there is nothing we didn't say. If it is memoranda, we submitted memoranda. If it is views, we gave views. But they don't listen to Kenyans. They chose to listen to the IMF and the other foreign benefactors. So our only recourse was then to the courts. You take a matter to the court and the president physically, just the way that you have described what Moi did to you, tells Omtata that wewe utanijua. You think you can defeat a president in the courts. You will not win in this particular case. So we are slowly witnessing a return to those days because, Cyrus, for me, honestly, for me and my children, we don't want to live in fear. Fear is the worst human emotion because it can actually paralyze you. We don't want to be afraid to say things. We don't want to ever go back to those spaces. The young people who are on TikTok, who are on Facebook, who are on IG should not be feeling afraid to say the things the way they see them and to express yourself, because if your constitution says you have the freedom of expression, you should be able to say whatever it is you want to say. So we don't want to ever go back there. And it falls back to, do we elect people who believe in these values that we expressed in this constitution? Do we elect people who actually believe that you have a freedom of association? Does William Ruto understand the freedom of expression, the freedom of protest, for instance? If you can tear gas a birthday cake, you just see people here having a good time, a bash, and you throw tear gas at a birthday cake because the mere thought that somebody is being celebrated is something that makes you insecure. Then it tells you that that person does not believe that they should even be in power. So what we need to do, we need to have a conversation. One of the things that I encourage Kenyans every day, watu wa Mungu sio wachache vile Cat Williams anasema. The number of good people in this country is quite high. There are many good people in this country. It is our responsibility to look for those good people because only good people can do good things. If somebody has a history that, like the history of William Ruto, and you have told us some very shocking things, and I don't know why these things are just brushed off. You have told us very shocking things about your experiences with the Kanu regime. Even William Ruto himself, the things you saw with your own eyes as you narrated during Jacob Juma's funeral. But somehow people just brush that aside. No. Huyu ni mtu wa Mungu, huyu mwenye anaenda kanisa, yeye ndiye amejenga hii makanisa. And then you make the mistake of actually giving power to those sorts of characters. The country will never move forward. So my hope, when we watch movies, we wait for what they call plot twists.
Yes.
When you go around the country right now, every single Kenyan denies voting for Ruto. All of them are saying now he is a bad man. Mm-hmm. I don't know what plot twist we will have before 2027 for these same Kenyans to come and give this guy a second term. But I have realized that this thing we have discussed here about tribalism and the hatred for other people, there are people who are in a space where they hate other people more than they love themselves. That I would rather be in pain. Yes. I would rather be sleeping hungry for as long as Raila is not president. Mm-hmm. That even if it is Raila who can actually make the economy turn around and make sure that I am able to feed my children, I would rather my children starve than see an uncircumcised Luo being president of this republic.
The same thing you're telling me.
Yes.
It will take over, I don't know how many times you
by advice to you. Else. Wewe hata usijaribu. Wacha tu Wakenya waendelee tu vile
waendelee. I just want to tell you something. Sifuna, I want to defend Kibaki in conclusion, and I want to declare.
I thought we were finished.
No, we're finished. But I just want to declare that there is a personal interest that makes me defend him.
Okay.
There's a time a bus of Masinde Muliro hit a pothole on the Kakamega-Webuye Road. It overturned, and we lost 5 students from Masinde Muliro University. There were many more who died, but those 5 came from Lugari. And I said, I was a member of parliament, and I said, the Thika Highway was being built, and I raised an issue. I said, when did the government of Kibaki discover oil in Thika, that they are spending 40 billion to do that highway to Thika, when in my village, I'm losing 5 students who are supposed to graduate because of a pothole.
Yes.
And in my view, I was literally complaining on equitable distribution of development. Kibaki took the time to look for me. And I went to office of the president. I was so scared to go alone because I didn't know what was going to happen to me.
You thought it was the same
experience I'm going to have that I had previously. Yeah. So I asked Soita Shitanda, who was my friend, please go with me. And we went to the office of the president. And Kibaki Mudhaura was there. Mudhaura is alive today, everybody can verify. And he asked me, why are you making this? I told him, Your Excellency, we are peasant farmers. The investment of our parents is in their children. And that is how we diversify our wealth. When we invest in our children, we expect them to get employed and take care of us.
Yes.
Because that investment in children doesn't come easily. We sell land, we sell animals, we sell everything to educate our children.
Yeah.
These are 5 families who have sold their assets for their children to go to secondary school.
Yes.
And they can die just because of a pothole. And Your Excellency, 40 billion is being spent just to do a road for one community. Why wasn't this money split so that we have some patches across the country? And Kibaki kept quiet for a while. Then he called Mzaura. He told me in Swahili, mwambie hiyo barabara iko wapi. Then I told Mzaura, the whole road from Kisumu to Kitale is potholes.
Yeah.
You can't drive. And you might fix the one between Kakamega and Webuye, but many more other Westerners are going to die.
Yeah.
People have come up with a lot of claims. Kibaki ordered this money that was supposed to do. It was a World Bank thing to do a project in Laikipia. He decided, no, that money does the road from Kisumu all the way to Kitale. In the presence of Soita, Mudhaura is alive. This is a man who was interested in finding solutions.
Okay.
Now, that is where I'm coming from.
But you
that's a selfish thing.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to tell you, maybe my defense of Kibaki, to a level that sometimes you fail to understand, is out of him really coming out and not being a person who believes development must be done in central.
That's what I'm saying. You can give him credit because you require somebody with a global view of the country. You develop a blueprint that is going to help everyone. Because one of the biggest misunderstandings, people think that if you build a road from Kisumu to Kitale, you are building it for Luyas. No, it's for everyone. In fact, those Luyas, it's for the economic growth. If you go to many of these major towns, the people who do businesses there are not even the locals themselves. And the children at Masinda Muliro University are not just Luyas. Yeah. What has happened is, although every Kenyan knows how much money their county gets under the devolved unit, I can tell you Nairobi has gotten an allocation of 20 billion shillings and the constitution has specified where you can use this money. Can you tell me of the national share, which is almost 3/4 of the budget, how much money goes to Kakamega County? You can't tell, because what they do is that in this very dangerous talk of shareholding that Gachagua and Ruto have been perpetuating, that once you get the central government, you look at the places that voted for this government and you say these are the people who are going to benefit in terms of development. You take the entire water budget. If they say the country is constructing 50 dams, 45 of those dams are in one region. And the rest of the country have to do with those 5 remaining dams wagawane. Because nobody sheds a light on the allocation of the national government share to the 47 devolved units. And that is where all the inequity is being perpetuated. Even up to today, I can tell you that is still going on. Because there are people who believe this government is theirs. This is ours. And even if you see what the county governments are doing, they have gotten to a place where Kenyans believe that if you come from Kakamega, the county of Kakamega is for the Luyas of Kakamega. And it exists solely for those Luyas in Kakamega. In fact, if you do a very simple exercise, for like where I come from in Bungoma, tell the people that Bungoma has received 9 billion shillings in Equitable share. Now, there are 2 choices here. Can we build a hospital? Ama watu wapange line kila mtu apatiwe pesa yake aende. What do you think those people will say? Exactly. I sit in the Public Accounts Committee. One of the laws requires that at least 30% of the people employed in a county government should not be the dominant community in that area. There is no single county, maybe with the exception of Nairobi, that has tried, because Nairobi is largely cosmopolitan. There's no county that has complied with that law. If you go to Kisii, even if you were born and raised in Kisii as a Bukusu, and you're the most competent doctor there, they will not employ you because Kisii is for Kisis. Forget even going far. If you come from Bungoma and you are born in Kakamega, do you know you can't be employed in Kakamega County? Wanakuambia, nyinyi wa Bukusu muende wapi? Bungoma. We have a fundamental problem in this country. We have a very big problem. And if you don't address that problem, there is nowhere we are going. How many people can do what Kibaki did for you? How many people can say, yes, I am the person in charge of a country. Indeed, the first thing I should do is to pave my grandmother's road. But the people of Kirinyaga, if we do this road between this town and this town, the output in terms of the economy is going to be such that my grandmother is going to feel the impact. How many people can do that? Very few. And that's what we are saying. For me, the things that I have learned in the short time that I have been in politics, this country will never change until Kenyans change. Why did you vote for Sifuna? What was the criteria? What did you look for? What is it that he told you that convinced you that this is the right person for this job? And until those questions are answered objectively, we're not going anywhere. If you're going to just look at the second name or the political party, you just look at the party and say, hii ni chama ya nyumbani, patia huyu mtu kura. Then you get to the assemblies. I see the memes that people generate on TikTok and other social media. A senator trying to express himself on the floor of the house. And they ask, surely, who elected this character? At the national level, you can ask that question. But if you go home where that guy comes from, you will understand why he was elected. Maybe that entire place is made up of his clan, or his family is large enough, or they have a lot of money, So the criteria has totally been distorted. And I tell Kenyans every day, until you review that criteria, you will end up with clowns and all sorts of wash characters, the way that the former interior minister told us that up to 50% of Bunge is going to be made up of those characters who are just voting machines when debate on a bill is going on. They are in the lounge there, drinking tea and mandazi, waiting for the speaker to put the question. Because for them, the only thing they can do is to vote, depending on the direction that they have received.
I totally agree with you. And
we have no country.
I want to tell you one thing. We can't finish this discussion.
It will not end.
And I want to believe that you'll create time out of your busy schedule. I'm going to create time.
Yes.
Really, you are a mind that I'm finding very interesting. A mind that seems to understand the actual place where the shoe pinches.
Yeah.
And it will be unfair to this country if your thought is not discussed in detail.
Just like it's unfair for you not to give us your book.
I'm going to give it to you.
To tell us the truth about what you people were doing in YK92 and where you go that body, Jirongo.
I've given you a glimpse of it.
Yeah. Usiogope, wewe kitabu.
Sasa wacha tufika hapo leo.
Yeah.
But I want us to find time, Sifuna. Your mind is clear. You seem to understand quite a bit of things. Let us discuss it openly. Those who will be willing to benefit from it, let them benefit from it. If the country wants to benefit from it, let them benefit from it. But what is our duty? To say the truth,
correct,
as raw as it is, and paint the picture of where the country should go. If we can't get that image correctly, then we can never drive towards it. I would really love Kenyans to learn from what Senator Sifuna has said, the kind of interaction we've had, and it's out of the views of Kenyans that we shall find a really solution, because it's clear all of us have failed this country as Kenyans, as voters, and as a leadership. And the more we interact and discuss this issue, the more we form our minds on what kind of leaders do we really need to elect. Your comments are most valued. Thank you, my brother.
Wacha tuachie hapo. Hii story hizi isha.